Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and I've got a really interesting mod today. Do you miss Dark Omen and Shadow of the Horned Rat? Or more specifically, do you miss those units? Well, you can now get them in Total War Warhammer with a mod that is available for the base game factions for the Dwarfs, Empire, Bretonnia and Kislev, meaning that you can just play around and have a really interesting campaign, especially for the Empire, which kind of needs help at the moment. So what this mod does is adds in a bunch of units in the form of special regiments of renown, a new legendary lord, as you can imagine, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So let's jump right into a campaign and check out what it exactly does. So you'll start off your campaign as normal, and what you will notice is that you have a bunch of quests at the beginning, an overwhelming amount of so, but they're not really that difficult. As you can see, it's mostly just go to this location, go to that location, go to this location, and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of them, and these are all units that you would have known from Dark Omen and Shadow of the Horned Rat. And they're all split around the map, so it'll give you reason to go explore a bit. You're not going to be getting everything at the very beginning. But obviously those units would not really mean anything unless you had a commander to lead them. Morgan Bernhardt. Yep. So, you get him in Altdorf here as you start your campaign, and he already starts with a few units. He starts with a few Grudgebringer units, so the infantry, some crossbows, even some cannons. And the great thing is he also starts off with full movement, so you can decide to start moving him as soon as you unlock him and get into some combat, because you want to level him up. You really do. And this is where your journey begins. So the character himself has already some very well-known items from back in the day, as you can imagine. So the Grudgebringer sword and the enchanted shield from back in the day. And yeah, it's nice. It brings him some special type of abilities, as you can see here, to do some damage. It's pure nostalgia factor. So if you want to feel a little bit old, I must say, yeah, this is probably the mod for you. Now, the character might not have a lot of unique skills, but this is where the character gets very interesting. As you can see, he does have a special skill which is focused around all these regiments of renown, and it's actually deterring you from getting other units. So you want to just get the regiments of renown, and yeah, you want to get some money. This is a character which is going to earn you cash because he's a mercenary. It's a really interesting thing, and we'll be checking out the units a little bit later on in the video, but basically what this means is that you're playing in a very different sense. This is an army where you actively want to play with these special types of units. You're not going to get any unique other skills, but you can already tell from the stats that he's already very, very powerful, and so are the unique units. You're going to be running with what I can imagine to be more or less a doom stack if you use them correctly. Keep in mind that some of these units, yeah, they will get countered. So like I said, recruitment is different. As you can see, you need to go to the areas to be able to get those units. They'll show up in the Regiments of Renown section, but you will need to wait. And at the beginning, you just won't have that many units to have. They're all 9 chevrons, and they're all very strong, but definitely keep them defended at the very start, at the very least, and just make your way that way. And you can tell that, yeah, you can get the archers and the normal state troopers, but their upkeep is horrendous, to say the least. Don't you worry, getting them won't take that long. Like I said, you just have to take a character there, and some of them are in your location. It's all the point about just natural acquisition more than anything else. I mean, once you just scroll out, you can see the quest markers everywhere, which, yeah, there's a lot. There's an absolute lot. And you can just, like, go normally as you normally do. Unite the Empire, maybe send an agent down. Agents will help here. Agents will actually trigger the events, which once you actually do trigger the event, it's more the case of they instantly recruit their regiment of renown after all. And since they're so drastically different, each troop is very different. If you played Shadow of the Horned Rat or Dark Omen, you'd be aware of this. Then you have a very strange mix of an army, but still, it's pretty cool. Now, it's not just units and a legendary lord, you also have access to some legendary heroes, like, for example, Gold Tongue Engrol. Well, he doesn't have immortality at the beginning, so yeah, keep that in mind that he can die. So, yeah, basic dwarf character, which is able to do quite a lot of damage in melee. He's also a good one for your diplomacy, so you'll be able to get your diplomatic relations up with the Empire, with the Kislev, with the dwarfs, and this is faction-wide. So if you just want to get your diplomatic relations a bit up, it does help, especially since some of them, you know, they'll help with the High Elves, they'll help with a little bit with Bretonnia and the Southern Realms, even get you some extra income from ports and trade tariffs. Again, these are mercenary characters, so obviously their main focus is focusing around stuff with cash. The next is Stormbringer of Vladimir, so this means that you get access to the Kizarite laws of magic, which, you know, allows you to play with something more. And keep in mind that these characters don't have any special items attached to them, but they're powerful in their own right. And obviously, you have access to both laws of magic here, which is pretty cool. And it gives you some other stuff to play around with, as you can see, you know, extra campaign of line of sight, extra damage in general, construction cost reduction for the local province. All of these are very good benefits that you're going to want anyway, so you can take advantage of them as you start preparing the character and then going on a little bit of a roleplay thing. I think this is the best way of saying it, you know, having a roleplay campaign. And finally, Ceradan, who's a melee-focused elf, also got a few things with trade, as you can imagine, because once again, mercenary. Keep in mind that all these tend to spawn around your capital. So they've been spawning here for me in Altdorf. It's always important, especially if you've got Morgan far away. You can use these characters anywhere else, but if you want to go with a theme, you probably want them all together. But the mod itself is really nice. I've been playing for about 2-3 hours. It's just nice to go around and just have a little bit of fun. Just to be able to kind of relive the glory days in a sense. Like, yeah, you can still play Shadow of the Horned Rat, but it's a little dated and sometimes it won't work on newer machines. So yeah, this is another way of doing so just by having a little bit of fun. The characters look awesome, the units look freaking awesome. Like, you can really have the nostalgia here, and you really feel it when you start going towards, like, say, the unit cards, because it gives you a feel of what they're really supposed to be, and it's just really nice overall. You can start really racking up the extra cash with these guys too. I noticed that Franz was a little bit easier. I was playing and testing this on Legendary, and it was just a little better to have some extra cash coming in. Like, yep, they're very expensive. Keep that in mind, that they're still going to be expensive because they are regiments of renown. But, you know, with the Empire currently having a lot of issues with, you know, there's beastmen everywhere. Azag is very aggressive. Dryker is just really aggressive. Durfu is back at it again. You've got Festus. The North always usually falls to chaos at this point. So having a little bit of extra help to kind of rack up the cash, and having a powerful character with a powerful army which is so incredibly varied. This is not your normal playstyle. You're not going to be playing like a gun line. Well, you can, because there's a decent amount of range units, but you're not really going to be able to get a proper gun line here. You're going to have to play this as you would a, like, actual fluffy, lore-friendly army, which I think is the big benefit here. I think that adds a lot of flavor and just generally is nice. It's just really weird. Like, I'm feeling oddly nostalgic. I really need to get the whole Shadow of the Horned Rat stream sorted at one point. Honestly, it's been making me really nostalgic, and yeah, I know I'm saying that a lot, but it's a genuine feeling, and it's just kind of nice, honestly. Now, if you look at some of the units, you will also notice that some of them have like a hero icon. This is because the unit themselves has like a demi-hero inside, which I think is a really nice added flavor to it. Once again, it just adds to the whole thing of Shadow of the Horned Rat and Dark Omen. You've got so many units to play with here. It's not an individual faction, so you're going to have to play as a base game faction, but it's nice to have something there. So it feels like you've got a legendary mercenary. You know, you've got your mercenary captain, you've got your army of ragtag mercenaries, and you're just going out there to have some fun. Role playability is a really big thing here, and I'm really, really into it. I think this is one of these mods that are just going to stay in my load order just to see what can be done. I don't know if the AI gets it. This might just be player only, but yeah, it's just genuinely really fun. The mod itself can be found in the description below, and I'd honestly highly recommend it if you want to have a little bit of nostalgia time here, because I really have, and it's just really nice. It just takes you back to a time of earlier editions of Warhammer Fantasy where Games Workshop wasn't that strange that they are now, let's just put it that way. And as a little bit of a PSA, if anyone knows how to play Shadow of the Horned Rat without it going crash to desktop from Good Old Games, please let me know in the comments below. And let me know what you guys think about this mod in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion, see if you have some fond memories of the good old days.